I'm Jack, 32, a corporate worker. I work in the sales department of a major trading company. Not to brag, but I've always been the top performer in sales. I believe my competitive nature has played a big part in that. It was after I started my job that I realized my talent. This month, I'm leading the pack in sales again. I let out a sigh of relief seeing everything going as planned and closed my computer screen. The same routine every day. For me, that's the best reward. I just can't find enjoyment in major changes to my daily routine. I think only laid-back folks can do that. I feel sorry for those who say I need some excitement. They don't appreciate the value of everyday life. But then, someone who shook up my routine appeared last spring. In April, the person transferred to our department was a younger female boss named Lucy. Her title was Assistant Sales Manager, which made her my immediate superior. It's not like I hold a grudge against her, but I've always struggled with women in general. There's a reason for this. My mom left my dad and me behind and ran away from home. Please don't get me wrong, it's not like my dad had a drinking problem or was violent or anything. On the contrary, he was often sick. And it was my mom who took care of him. Whether she got tired of caring for him, I don't know. When I came home as a middle schooler, she left a note and was gone. Take care of your dad for me. That was all that was written in the letter from my mom, and I remember being stunned by it. More than sadness or loneliness, anger towards my mom welled up inside me, and I struggled to keep it down. Dad never blamed Mom for leaving and just accepted it as if it were the most natural thing in the world. And so, it was just the two of us, me and my dad, starting our life together. Dad couldn't work and relied on public assistance. From high school, I started working part-time jobs, dedicating myself to supporting our household and my dad. There was no time for me to enjoy a typical youth. Never wanting pity from anyone, I became adept at putting on a brave face, no matter what happened. I must have been a tough kid, I guess. Sadly, after a prolonged illness, Dad passed away 2 years ago. When I was freed from caring for my dad, I was at a loss for what to do next. I felt as if my worth had vanished. I immersed myself more in my work, probably due to the loss of my dad. You're always top in sales, Jack. I believe the first time Lucy, who has been assigned in April, spoke to me was around this time. It felt like she was making small talk, and to be honest, it felt tedious. I put in the effort, that's all. I didn't mean to be modest, but most people accept that response. Of course, otherwise, achieving such results would be impossible. In front of the sales performance posted on the whiteboard, Lucy said that and nodded in agreement. Every time she nods, I catch a whiff of the sweet perfume she's wearing. Let's do our best this week too. She gave a light pat on my shoulder and headed back to her desk. There was a silver ring on her left ring finger. I was slightly taken aback when I found out she was married. She's younger than me, and well, she doesn't give off that married vibe. Not so domestic, I just felt like that. I found out the reason for this purely by chance. Every office has its share of gossip mongers. And ours was no exception, with many relishing in the rumors during their breaks. Today, one of the clerks was proudly sharing some juicy news she had overheard in the break room. And I just happened to overhear it. According to the office clerk, it seems that Lucy's husband passed away due to illness the year before last. This means she is a widow now. I heard it all happen so fast, from the time the illness was discovered to his passing. Hearing that, I stepped away from the break room. It was a bit surprising to think that someone as cheerful as Lucy had such a past. But then, another thought crossed my mind. Why didn't she leave her husband, I wondered. Was it because his decline was so rapid, from treatment to demise? I believed that if her husband had struggled for a long time and had not died, Lucy would have left him. I know it's a biased thought, but this is something I know from my experience, and I believe it's the truth. What's wrong? Your coffee is going to get cold. Lost in these thoughts, I completely forgot to sip my coffee. By the time Lucy, who was next to me, pointed it out, I hardly took a sip, but it was already lukewarm. I'm sorry, I was spacing out a bit. Apologizing for being lost in thought during work, Lucy looked at me puzzled. Then the next moment, she smiled brightly. Don't be silly. Everyone needs a break. No need to apologize. Her smile seemed dazzling to me. It was a wonder how she could smile like a sunflower blooming in summer. I awkwardly smiled back, but it probably looked like a ventriloquist's dummy smiling. Don't force a smile. Save those smiles for the customers. After she jokingly said that, I covered my mouth with one hand. Feeling as if everything was being seen through, I felt restless and uncomfortable. I'm sorry. I'm not good at smiling. Unintentionally, my true feelings slipped out. I had never said such a thing to anyone before. I was surprised at myself for revealing my true feelings to Lucy. Oh, is that so? For me, I find it hard to cry. Lucy gently brushed aside my true feelings and said so. It felt as if we were exchanging our vulnerabilities. Maybe she was trying to be fair since she had inadvertently heard my weakness. In all things, Lucy was always like this. She treats everyone equally, lends a listening ear, gives encouragement, and brightens the atmosphere in our department by bringing everyone together. Lucy's reputation has soared not just within our team but across the whole department. By the time seeing her smile every morning had become the highlight of my day, something unbelievable happened to me. At the end of the month, I was left standing before the posted sales results. For the first time, I was in second place in sales performance. I couldn't hide my dismay, wondering if there had been some kind of mistake. The one who surpassed me and jumped to the top was a junior who had been hovering around the middle of the pack until last month. I have noticed they'd been putting in the effort after receiving advice from Lucy recently, but I never, not in a million years, thought they would surpass my sales performance. As I heard the cheers of my junior behind me, I kept telling myself to stay calm. Losing my composure was not an option. I must keep a straight face, so as not to be pitied. The nails of my tightly clenched fist were digging into my palm. The one who gently wrapped around that fist was Lucy's slender finger. A fleeting moment as she passed by. Her fingertips seemed to soothe me, as if to say, "It's okay." Involuntarily, I looked up. Without looking back at me, Lucy walked straight toward my junior and congratulated him. The touch of her fingers lingered on my fist. It felt as if her feelings were flowing into me through her fingertips, a strange sensation. The tension of my clenched fist gradually eased. I could feel my strained emotions lightening. I won't lose next month. I conveyed my genuine feelings to my junior. The words came out naturally, probably thanks to Lucy. Lucy looked at me and smiled brightly. It was her usual radiant smile like a sunflower. After work that day, we finally had Lucy's welcome party within our team. The team's party planner had booked a stylish Spanish restaurant. Our team always had high attendance at these parties, thanks to his efforts to find various interesting places for every gathering. This time, too, almost everyone was attending. We enjoyed exotic dishes and delicious wine. Under normal circumstances, I'd probably enjoy myself more, but I was a bit different tonight. I couldn't stand the fact that my sales performance was surpassed by a junior colleague. The supposed relief I felt was stirred awkwardly again by drinking alcohol. This feeling of irritation shrouded my chest and invited a worse state of drunkenness. I'm definitely not a bad drunk. I'm always properly paced, and getting disorderly is unthinkable. But tonight was different. I couldn't disguise my emotions and overtly avoided Lucy. "Please, drink over there. Don't mind me. Don't worry, I'll work harder from next month." I confront Lucy, who just sat next to me and started talking, with slurred words. "Come on, don't dislike me that much." Lucy, trying to calm me down, seemed to act superior even though she's younger, and it irritated me more. "How did you even get promoted? There's no way you can get promoted while taking care of a sick husband, can you?" My mouth wouldn't stop in my drunken state. I know I'm in trouble in my head, but harsh words just keep spilling out of my mouth. "Oh, you seem to know a lot. I'm a more capable woman than you think, Jack." Lucy brushes off my sarcasm with a complacent attitude. Even that attitude started to anger me. "Jack, you struggle with women, don't you?" she said with a mischievous grin, making my heart race, and I unintentionally get lost for words. "See, bullseye, spot on, right. That's why whatever you say, Jack, it's fine by me." Taking a sip of red wine, Lucy said it with a straight face. This is her true feeling. It's like she thinks she knows everything about me. "What do you know about me, being younger and all?" I find myself getting defensive. The room's atmosphere suddenly turns icy. It seems my voice was louder than I thought. "I do know, too bad. You don't like me, do you, Jack?" Sticking out her tongue in a teasing manner, Lucy seems to provoke me. I, irritated, unintentionally stood up from my chair. Lucy looks up at me with challenging eyes. "I never said such a thing. I can tell even if you don't say it." She pouts her lips. Somehow, she seems a bit sullen. After a few similar exchanges, I was the one who lost my cool first. I drained the wine I had in my hand in one go and leaned towards Lucy, shouting, "That's what I'm saying. I like you." In that moment, Lucy, with wide open eyes, looked up at me. Being able to surprise her, I felt satisfied. In the next moment, I blacked out. The next day, I woke up in my room with a hangover, holding my aching head. I was so embarrassed about making a fool of myself at the party that I wished the ground would swallow me up. Alone, I tossed and turned in bed. "Huh, you're awake. Huh?" What I heard from the kitchen was Lucy's voice, and I was so startled it felt like my heart might jump out of my mouth. "Jack, you passed out after that. Tom and I brought you back. We missed the last train, so we had to impose." Approaching with a bottle of mineral water in one hand, Lucy looked somewhat refreshing without makeup. "I'm so sorry." While accepting the bottle of mineral water, I apologized for my disgraceful behavior last night. Lucy smiled warmly and said, "It's all right." "Oh, but I also have something to apologize for." "What is it?" Lucy, looking a bit guilty, clasps her hands together toward me. What on earth could she have done to me? If it's about what happened at the party, I really don't remember anything. I fought to turn it off as it was left on, but then a DVD started playing. I saw cute Jack. She sticks out her tongue and says, "I'm sorry." I, startled, glanced toward the TV. On the table in front of the TV, an old DVD case was carelessly left. Recalling what was being watched, I feel embarrassed. Knowing that Lucy saw such a thing, I really wish I could just find a hole and hide in it. "You saw it, huh? Feel free to laugh. A grown man doing something like that." I uttered such words in despair. "Why, I think it's wonderful. Remembering and valuing family is a wonderful thing, isn't it?" I managed a wry smile as she asks me this, her face filled with curiosity. What Lucy happened to see was a home video taken when I was a child. It documented a time when I was most happy. My dad was still somewhat well, my mom was at home, and I was laughing innocently, oblivious to any hardships. This was filmed during a family outing to watch the blooming flowers, and my grandfather was the one shooting the video. He probably offered to handle the camera so that the 3 family members could be framed in the shot. I was so young, adoring my parents, not having the slightest inkling that this happiness would crumble. Sometimes I watch this video to remind myself that I too had happy moments. To not forget that I was once, like others, a person who was loved. This wonderful family fell apart a few years later. I felt the urge to tell Lucy everything. Then, about my father's illness and my mom running away. How I couldn't forgive myself for feeling relieved more than sad when my father passed away. Normally, I'm good at putting on a facade, but with Lucy, only honest words come out. She was quietly listening to my life story. After finishing telling everything, I take a sip of mineral water. No wonder you despise women. Lucy quietly opens her mouth. After listening to my life story, Lucy showed neither signs of pity nor ridicule. Her face accepted all the facts as they were. Can I share my story too? When my husband died, I felt relieved. At her unexpected confession, I inadvertently let out, "What? It was really hard until he passed," knowing the end was near, but having no other choice. I don't know how much I cursed God. Lucy smiles a bit sarcastically. That smile is twisted, totally different from her usual cheerful one. I wonder which one is the real her. I wanted to know more about her. Did you feel relieved when your husband passed away? I'm aware that it's an insensitive question, but I wanted to confirm it with her. Yes, I did. I felt liberated. Lucy clarified that the liberation she felt was not from taking care of him. She seemed to think she was liberated from the fear of her husband being gone and the pity from those around her. Her husband's final moments weren't peaceful, it seems. He suffered in pain until the end, crying out his desire to live. Lucy described his last moments as hellish. It was too much to face directly. I wanted to run away from there, to block my ears. Hearing the prolonged beep of the heart monitor, she realized, it's over. It was an insane moment. Reminiscing, she tremored slightly. I couldn't start a family with him. I couldn't let him, who loved children, become a father. Her only regret, Lucy concluded her story. I felt as if I had learned a secret hidden within her. Maybe she didn't ridicule me because she had experienced significant loss. Loss teaches you things, something Lucy knows firsthand. I wanted to say something comforting, but no words came to my mind. See you on Monday, then. Lucy left after saying this. After she left, I got out of bed to check the kitchen and found a pot of easy-to-digest vegetable soup. On the table was a note, "Heat it up and eat." The refrigerator was stocked with sports drinks. Lucy's thoughtfulness, her affection, was appreciated. From this day on, Lucy's presence in my life grew increasingly significant. I found myself hoping that she felt the same. However, when I went to work on Monday, her attitude was no different than usual. I was taken aback, thinking we had a special connection, sharing secrets no one else knew. Boss and subordinate. Nothing more, nothing less. Such a relationship continued until the next spring. It was almost a year since Lucy was transferred. When spring comes and the cherry blossoms are in full bloom, I feel lighthearted every year. Perhaps my body remembers the joyful times. Sunday was the anniversary of my father's passing, so I went to visit his grave. I cleaned it neatly and offered fresh flowers. I lit candle and a cigarette, his favorite, together. I remember my father sneaking cigarettes, despite doctors' warnings. He would laugh while smoking in his sick bed, saying, "This is the one thing I can't give up." Thinking back, he might have been a strange father. I wonder what kind of life he would have led if he hadn't been sick. I watched the smoke from the candle and cigarette rise into the air, imagining his life. Usually, I would feel more depressed visiting this grave, but not this time. The lake inside my heart was still. I felt very flat, quiet, and calm. I think it was the first time I prayed with such feelings. I realized something is changing within me. My obsession with being the top in sales has relaxed, fluctuating between first and third place. I'm no longer disturbed by it. I'm even surprised at myself for being able to sincerely rejoice at my junior's growth and colleagues' efforts. She has undoubtedly changed me. Lucy's presence has changed me. I haven't told her, but I'm truly grateful to her from the bottom of my heart. Later, that confession video shown to me by a colleague at a drinking party is now a funny story. "Huh, Jack? No way. Don't you think this is too much of a coincidence?" Suddenly, a voice called out, and when I turned around, there was Lucy. She is holding flowers for the offering. "Huck, Lucy, is your family's grave here too?" Lucy shared that it's her husband's monthly Memorial Day. Somehow, I find myself helping out with the cleaning. Lucy carefully polishes the tombstone, offers candle and a lit cigarette, just like I do. My dad was the same, cigarettes. As I mentioned this, Lucy smiles and says, "Really? Such selfish people, really," despite being sick, as she lights up her second cigarette. They can smoke all they want in the afterlife. Laughing freely, Lucy looks up at the smoke rising to the sky and murmurs something to that effect. Her profile looks so bright and cheerful. Perhaps Lucy has also managed to sort out her feelings. Jack, ready to head back, fancy a walk together. Returning the ladle and bucket to the fountain in the precincts, Lucy invites me for a walk. It's a beautiful day, a walk sounds nice. Hearing my response, Lucy guided me to a park near a temple, known for its beautiful cherry blossoms. The fully bloomed cherry blossoms were visible even from afar. There were many people enjoying the cherry blossoms, and with stalls set up, it had a festive atmosphere. I narrowed my eyes at the familiar place, feeling a sense of nostalgia. "You remembered?" I mumbled inadvertently. I would never forget. I decided that day that we would come here together when the flowers bloomed. Lucy says while looking at the cherry blossoms. While slowly walking among the blossoms, I steal glances at her profile. Seemingly noticing my gaze, our eyes suddenly met, causing me to involuntarily stop in my tracks. I can't stand it anymore. I hate waiting. Suddenly, she puffed out her cheeks and stamped her foot. Faced with her childlike behavior, I found myself feeling flustered. What upset her? I'm sorry. I apologize just in case, and the words of apology just spill out. Seeing me like this, Lucy puffs her cheeks again. "Really, you are hopeless." Can I accept that confession? You did say you liked me at the bar, right? At the sudden confession, I inadvertently nod in agreement. "I don't want to be your lover. I want to be your family, Jack. I want you to be a part of my family," Lucy says with a serious expression. I think, ideally, I, as the man, should have said it first. I feel really bad for not having the courage. I bet Lucy had decided to confess to me in this park during the cherry blossom season. Are you sure about me? I'm not a good guy. I want you. You cherish your wonderful family. That's why I want you, Jack. She hugged me tightly like a child. Her body was soft and slim, and I could smell her usual perfume. I'm sorry. Let me say it too. Please be my family, Lucy. At my words, Lucy tightened her arms around me. This must be her way of responding. We both carry a great sense of loss. Knowing this, I think we can cherish each other. I'll cherish you for a lifetime. I said it with all my feelings. I'm sure there's no one else in the world to whom I would dedicate these words besides her. How did you find today's story? Hitting the subscribe and like button will motivate me to create more. I'm also looking forward to reading your comments. See you in the next